Greetings, programs. I don't know. How do you begin this?
We introduce ourselves.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone. Welcome to the pod.
Dun dun dun. We can't be the shuttle pod though, because they're far.
So what is an what's the
Oh
name of
yeah,
this?
what do we call this?
We
We haven't decided.
No.
I wrote down all the names. Okay, that's what we can do. That's what we can talk about.
We have name. Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, we could do a whole episode where we name the podcast.
It was the AI suggestions, wasn't it?
This could just be like a
Some
20
of them.
minute
Some of them.
20-minute podcast.
On what dumbass name?
Boldly going somewhere.
I do like that. That's one of my favorite. Boldly going somewhere. Yeah. What's next?
Introduce. Hi,
Is that the name?
No.
I'm Captain Too Far.
Yeah, but where's the rest of the potential titles?
I'm working on it. We gotta do
Hi.
introductions.
Hi,
before we...
I'm Ren Andromeda. Is that my name? All right.
It really is her name. And I'm shell shock, unemployed Dabo girl. Yeah. Oh, how
Nice.
the mighty have fallen.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do a Star Trek podcast because I don't even know why.
We love
Why-
Star Trek.
Because we are.
We're obsessed with it.
We are Trekkies.
Although you guys haven't seen the movies, Trekkies, the
Trekkies.
documentaries.
No. Ren's been holding out on us.
But you haven't watched the classic series.
Right.
Or the
So
Star Trek
there's-
parody
So
porn.
let's just point out each other's flaws.
We could do a whole episode on the Star Trek parody porns.
porns.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah. Which
yeah.
means you might have to watch a little bit of them.
It sounds like I will. Yeah.
But not
Yeah.
together, because that would be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want
I
to make
would
it
need
weird.
I need a pillow on my lap. So we have, as
Why
far
is
as
that funny?
show names,
Yeah,
we have the Beta Quadrant,
boring.
Boring.
Warp Bubble, okay, Subspace Anomaly,
No.
okay, Launchpad Lobotomy,
That's not bad.
That sounds like the name of an 80s.
Like
Barbershop
metal
quartet.
band.
I don't know.
Okay.
Launchpad Lobotomy,
Yeah, a metal band.
of nothing
metal
but band,
an 80s hair band.
Yeah.
but it's all banjos.
But it's all banjos. What else you got?
The Rendromeda Show.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, but then
good
that's
one.
all focused on.
As it should
Me.
be. As it
I
should
mean,
be.
you're the reason that this is happening.
It's true.
But no,
Sure,
I'll
you're
tell you.
not
I'll
only-
tell you the reason why
you're-
this is happening after we're done with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
that's our next conversation point.
Something clever.
Right, but it doesn't have anything to do with Star Trek.
Yeah,
no,
it's
no,
just
it
some
doesn't, yeah.
random.
The Not So Neutral Zone.
Yeah,
It's
so
okay.
It's all right.
Atomic Biocyber Discharge.
That's a mouthful. Who came up with that?
It's just random sci-fi words I
Maybe.
looked up.
Yeah.
Maybe, but if it's random sci-fi and not like Star Trek
Right.
Right.
jargon, then
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense.
And then Boldly Going Somewhere.
Yeah. But there's.
But there are other ones. Okay, I think there were other podcasts named that, but not the shows, just the actual episodes.
But there was also there was another one.
So an episode of one of the series is called Boldly Going.
I think so.
Well,
So
that would make sense.
I think it would be fine to use it, I guess.
There was also several. One of I forget which one. Maybe it was the Boldly Going. I think I looked it up, and there was a podcast that was running for a while, but they haven't done anything since like 21 or 22.
It's also called Boldly Going Somewhere.
Or Boldly Going Nowhere, because we have somewhere or we have nowhere.
I like
Boldly Going
I like
Nowhere.
Boldly, comma, somewhere.
Somewhere.
Question
Somewhere?
mark?
I like it.
Okay,
What
Boldly
about-
Going Somewhere.
We also had the I'll blow your Jeffries tube.
The what? I'll blow your Jeffries tube?
Yeah, that's how they blow the torpedos out of the. You know.
It's not. That's
I'll
not what a
blow
Jeffries
your
tube is for.
Jeffries
So it's a
tube.
torpedo.
No
tube.
shell.
Well, you crawl through them like
Yeah, with your yeah,
with your body.
yeah, and your torpedoes. Is that true? Space sperm. That's very nice.
No, I was in the torpedo tube
that was definitely
with Jeffrey.
with Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Jeffrey's torpedo tube.
The Jeffries tube is an access tunnelway
Yeah.
that gets you around to
I
different
knew
parts
that.
of the ship.
There you
Just
go.
making sure you were fucking
You don't
paying
launch
attention.
torpedoes in there.
I mean, depends on how you define torpedoes.
Flesh torpedo.
So Ren, why is this happening?
Okay.
It was a euphemism.
I don't want to call anyone out, but I will fucking call them out. Can I do that?
She's gonna do it.
Mhm.
Can I do that?
Don't
Yeah.
hold back.
There was a podcast I was listening to because I was getting really into. I'm going to look right there.
Right here.
I was really into Deep Space Nine about
So good.
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was listening to. I was just so engulfed in this whole world of the series. And I was listening to a Deep Space Nine podcast, driving around for work. I drive around all the time for work. The Fire Caves, a Deep Space Nine podcast, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It's two guys talking about Deep Space Nine every single episode, and I'm, turning into a fan. And then I get to the Rejoined episode where Dax makes out with her former wife in a past life. It's like this love interest that with a lesbian kiss. And one of the guys was just like, I'm not okay with this.
What?
I'm morally opposed to
No.
this on television.
No.
And the other guy was just kind of agreeing with him. So then I wrote them.
Nice.
Yes. I
Yes.
wrote them and I was like, I'm going to give you an opportunity to retract what you just said here because this is insane. And they doubled down.
Seriously?
Oh wow.
They doubled down and
They
they wrote
mentioned-
me a whole message back that said, we stand by our views that this is morally out of whack, and that's that.
So
But
you-
we really hope you keep enjoying
Like,
the
it's like
pod.
the evangelical Star Trek fans.
Yeah.
I think there's
Well,
probably
one of them was, and the other guy was just kind of going along with it.
Mm. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not
Wait,
surprised.
was this before gay marriage was legalized?
It was 2 years ago.
Oh, wow, that's
I'm not
It's very
surprised that there's
provincial of you.
a large, pretty conservative audience.
Yeah.
you think so?
That are into it.
really?
Well, yeah. If you figure, I mean, other than New Trek, you're looking at. I mean, as far as Deep Space Nine, Next Generation, Voyager, even Enterprise, 20 years old at
It's
this
all
point.
the rejects from back then, which we were.
Right.
They're fans now.
But they're old and crusty now.
Yeah, but I mean, we're old and crusty, but we're not.
But I think that what I was saying was like there was a first interracial kiss on Star Trek in the
Yes,
60s.
in the
This has always
60s,
been a
yeah.
very progressive show. And Discovery has
Absolutely.
like a ton of gay characters, trans couple. It's got Dr. Colbert and the guy that looks like you. What's his name?
Oh my God,
better be-
Stamets, Paul
Yeah, wait.
Stamets.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, they're making out. It's like, wow. I mean, there's just gayness all over this fucking series.
especially modern Trek, almost
Yeah.
to its detriment. But to your point,
Yeah.
Star Trek has always kind of skirted that, at least touched the line, approach and touch the line from time to time. I mean, thinking like the first episode of Next Gen, the pilot had, granted it was a hallway scene and you never saw it again, but background characters in their uniforms walking down the hallways, and one of them was a guy wearing the little skirt.
Oh,
outfit.
really?
Wait, when? What
In
was
TNG?
it?
Yeah,
In
in
TNG?
TNG.
Oh.
And it was only on air once.
That's
They only showed it in that one episode, and then
That's
it was
interesting.
they never did it again
Mm.
because it was like, whoa, that's too far.
Yeah.
And then there was, and we can deep dive into a lot of this stuff later, but then there was the episode where Riker had that relationship with the third gender.
Or that wasn't Trip on Enterprise?
No, that was
another one.
a different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think,
And
yeah, I remember.
that turned into the one with Riker turned into this whole like political discussion around, well, personal choice and all that kind of stuff, but then gender and gender roles specifically, and self-identification and all of that kind of stuff. And that was pretty heavy for its
For
time.
Yeah.
90s, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Because I think that was like, I don't even remember. We'll have to look it up. But maybe like a third or fourth season episode. Might even been earlier than that. No, I think it was like a third or fourth season episode.
Well, my point was maybe don't have a Star Trek podcast if you're going to have bigoted points of view, because here I am driving around doing the Lord's work, doing hospice work,
We're looking for a little, just
and
a
getting
little,
super triggered
Yeah.
out of nowhere, expecting
Yeah.
not to, because I'm watching or listening to a podcast from a very forward show, in my opinion.
yeah. But
So then I said, God damn it, I'm going to make my own
Yeah.
fucking Star Trek
fuck
podcast.
you and your Boldly going into homophobia.
Yeah.
And apparently we're going to allow swearing.
No,
Oh,
you
are
have
we
to
not
make,
going to?
it'd
We're
be
gonna
like
edit that
out?
SpongeBob, where you
This-
Do you think
you're
our
gonna-
fans?
you're gonna
Are...
beep out like with a dolphin noise every time someone swears.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh, God, I don't want to edit that much.
I can limit my f bombs
I mean,
if you want.
Well, we'll use them strategically. We'll
Yeah,
use them
strategic.
strategically for emphasis.
Well, for that point, I was very heated over that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know,
Obviously,
that's such a weird flex too, because like you said, I mean, Star Trek has been breaking those molds
Every once in a
since
while,
the
though.
60s.
Most
Yeah.
of the time, it's a pretty conservative show.
But they were also, but
But-
I mean, I don't know.
Not conservative in like.
They were just natural. You just, I don't know. They approached these things naturally without a big, look at what we're doing. It was just right.
well, I think the
It was
whole
just-
the
it was
whole
just- it was
start.
I would
natural,
agree. I would agree with that.
Like
They
the
tried.
background TNG shot you were talking about.
Yeah, they wove
right?
it in. They wove it into the world building, and they wove it into story.
Yeah, without
But-
without feeling the need to call a bunch of attention to it.
The world is kind of based on this. Okay, so they have replicator technology, which means like capitalism is like gone. So that's like what happens in one of the Lower Decks episodes, where they go to a world and they're like, they're done with capitalism now. That's over, and then like everyone's just partying. So it's kind of what is the word for that? It's like what is the word? It's like kind of like a utopian like there's no trade needed.
Agrarian
Is that what it
society?
is?
Agrarian, where they just farm and party.
Well,
No,
they
no,
they
it's
can
not
like
that.
replicate anything they need. So the commerce is not the same situation. I don't sound smart right now. What am I trying to say?
I can't think of the
Well,
word.
I don't know what the exact term is that you're looking for, but it's
Yeah.
a post-capitalist society to a
Right.
point. That's one of the things I think is actually, and they touched on it, starting with every once in a while in TNG, but really started to get more into it in Deep Space Nine, where it's like the Federation is there, and sure, Earth doesn't really have a capitalist society. You work for the betterment of yourself according to your wants and talents and all this kind of stuff. Some people do it, some people don't. But the rest of the galaxy doesn't operate that way.
Right.
And so when you go to Deep Space Nine, Quark doesn't give his stuff away for free. Obviously, he's a very for profit. There's shops and people are selling things. Capitalism is very much alive and
the rest
well,
of the universe. Yeah.
which kind of tells me that even though there were many references to, hey, we don't need money, we don't need this or whatever, I think that's true for the people that are in Starfleet.
Yeah.
But as soon as you start to operate with the rest of the galaxy outside of Starfleet, you could better have something of worth to trade, whether it's Latinum or
Yeah.
something. Otherwise, you're not going to get very far because everybody else is working within some kind of commerce system between, either whether it's within a planet or between planets or whatever.
Yeah, I mean maybe it's some place in between that, because like people on Earth are not hustling in the way they are hustling now.
No.
But at the same time, yes, worlds need something to trade with other worlds, it seems.
So
Well, and the Latinum is right. Gold-pressed Latinum
Or
is kind of the
dilithium
standard,
or
the
something.
standard,
Well, and
dilithium, yeah.
in Latinum was the thing because in lore, and I don't remember where this came up. It might have been in Deep Space Nine, a reference to it. Could have been a book or something. I don't even know. But the gold pressed Latinum can't be replicated, so they can't just manufacture endless amounts of it.
Oh,
Something
interesting.
about it's whatever.
Metallurgical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
construct.
It can't. And same with like you can't just replicate a phaser, right? You can replicate components and construct a phaser, but there are limits unless the plot needs it to be a certain way. That there's limits to the replicator technology. So that's where certain things will have value because of scarcity. I don't know what you do with gold pressed Latinum, but
You
you collect it.
trade it with the Ferengi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Touch their lobes a lot.
So on the topic of economics, which I kind of would love to do a whole episode.
Yeah,
on
we
this,
should actually study up on it.
Why was Raffi on Picard? Why was she in a trailer park in the desert?
Well, she was an addict.
Mhm.
Does that have anything to do with it?
In theory, but it's like in the post-capitalist Earth society, right?
Yeah.
she was living in a trailer and was complaining about Picard with all of his riches and his villa and this and that whatever. But she was in a trailer park well, I say a trailer park. She was in a
Oh, yeah,
trailer
so-
by herself in
so
the
if-
desert.
So if capitalism has been
Well-
done away with, why was there poverty?
Maybe
Right.
it's like everybody can eat because everyone can get a replicator, but as far as a villa, that's like family wealth or
Which is back
bigger
to
wealth.
capitalism does
kind of. So there is
exist
kind of
instead yeah.
capitalism, yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah, you're
It
right.
has to be.
But at least like people can not go hungry, I guess,
Yeah.
more easily.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think that's I mean, as much as I kind of would love to dog on that for Picard for that element, I think it introduced a lot of things that kind of more Picard than Discovery introduce some things that are like kind of antithetical to Star Trek, but there are elements that it brought in where it's like, yeah, I mean, it's nice to say that we live in a post-capitalist society, but it's a little bit naive of Kirk and Spock to just not recognize that the rest of the galaxy doesn't need that. People do still get sick, right? All illnesses aren't
Yeah.
magically cured or whatever.
Mhm.
They're fighting new illnesses every other week. All these kinds of things still exist, and even though you're kind of in your comfortable Starfleet bubble of the adventure of the week, all these other things still persist, at least to some degree.
Mhm.
So I give Picard a little bit of credit for kind of bringing that in, but it was a bit jarring.
You make good points. I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch Picard.
No, don't
Why?
do it.
Why?
The last season was what the first two.
Did you
should have
did you
been.
watch the whole thing?
I skipped the first couple episodes because I had like a resistance
It
to
started out
TNG
so
for a long
promising.
time.
It really started out so promising.
I mean, my brother made me watch TNG as a child, and I suffered through it. I didn't
What?
like it at all.
What?
I only got into Star Trek kind of
Oh.
when I had a goth girlfriend when I was like 18 or 19.
Yeah, she was
She
checking.
put it
Do
on
goth
all the
girls
time.
like Star Trek?
They
Duh.
do, right?
Have you met me?
You're a Dabo girl.
Is that dumb?
Yeah, like it was always like
I'll
Voyager, Voyager and TNG and Deep Space Nine playing on cable television in the background like every day, and I was like, ugh, I would just like suffer through it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what happened in 2018 or 2017, I dated a girl that was really fucking weird but hot, and she said that every Sunday she would binge watch Deep Space Nine,
Mm.
and I was like, I watched that back in the day, like that kind of sounds relaxing,
Mhm.
but
It is.
I was like not gonna do it. I wasn't gonna jump in, and then I think 2020, I just like started
Yeah,
with
fucking
Deep
I'm
Space.
home.
And then
I'm
once I
home.
started, like, I haven't stopped watching Deep
So
Space Nine
good.
on repeat
Mm.
So
every
good.
week, like several episodes, almost every day. I would
So
say.
Deep Space Nine is going to be your area of expertise then. Have
Yeah.
you gone through the other series like Voyager?
I just went through
and-
And they made her
TNG
start
pretty much
in
twice.
Enterprise, right? Didn't you didn't
I
you
actually
finish
went
it?
through all of them, like Voyager, Enterprise, and TNG, all recently this year. And I'm pretty much like, I think Enterprise I went through like 3 times. TNG I'm going through twice, and then Voyager's been twice.
Nice.
I don't watch anything else, and I watch a lot of TV.
So we'll do that where we'll scroll through things and be like, okay, there's all these things we're supposed to watch, all this post-apocalyptic content, blah blah blah. Let's just watch Voyager.
Yeah, that's what happened last night. That's why I didn't get Section 31 finished after.
Yeah, it's like,
your
oh, we got-
homework, Yeah.
We gotta
Oh my
watch
God.
Section 31. It's like, let's
No.
watch the pilot of Deep Space
No.
Nine.
Well, it's because she assigned us those 2 or 3 episodes that caught us up on the lore,
Yeah,
and then we were like, since we're here,
yeah, it was really so.
parts
Yeah.
1 and 2, it's
So-
a double episode.
Shell, when did you
Uh.
start watching Star Trek? And
Oh my God!
What's
don't-
your
don't
history with
make me
Star
do
Trek?
This math.
And which series have you seen or not seen?
I've seen them all
which is your
multiple times, and I started watching it. Oh, fine. As a little girl in the 70s.
like when the original series went
So it
into
was a syndication.
yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't old enough to be alive when it came out in the 60s, but I started watching it in the 70s. OG Star Trek, and yeah, I watched every single run until I met you. I had not seen. This was 20 years ago. Enterprise and Voyager. I'd seen DS9, TNG, and old school Star Trek.
Yeah, I think when you first moved here,
Okay.
Enterprise had just gotten canceled.
Yeah.
and I was still upset about it. Enterprise and Firefly had just
Yeah.
gotten canceled.
Yeah, so I watched all those with you, and then I never watched Voyager because Janeway drove me crazy at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so the last two, those two I watched with you,
Mm-hmm.
and then we watched everything else that's come out together since. And of course, I've seen all the OG movies and all the newer movies and all the TNG movies and
Yeah, I started watching
all the things.
same thing, watching Star Trek on TV, whether it was with my parents or upstairs in my bedroom
Oh,
by
you guys
myself.
put them in. You guys put them in Stardate order, right? You recorded them all. Sorry. Start over. Cut. I don't know. It just popped into my head.
On VHS tape.
So yeah, when sometime in this is before TNG came out. But I don't remember which one of the chain rental stores, Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, one of them, probably both of them, actually got permission to release the original series on VHS tape for rentals, and so Dad rented all of them, the whole series, and painstakingly went through
Wow.
all of the tapes to watch the beginning of each episode to figure out what the star date was at the beginning of each episode, and then dubbed it on his own set of VHS tapes.
AKA pirated it.
It was a backup copy, and just in case something happened to Hollywood Video.
Yeah.
That's very nice of him.
Yeah,
That's very
it was
thoughtful.
a community service.
It was a community.
It's very nice of him for you guys to have all that.
And so what was funny though is like later when I watched Star Trek, like when it was on streaming or whatever, and I watched the classic series for the first time, I'm like, in my brain, like everything was wrong because I had watched those VHS tapes in Stardate order, which put like a season 3 episode and season 1, and like everything was out of order because they didn't give a shit about any of that stuff back then. Stardate meant nothing, really.
So why did he do it?
For fun. It was something that, I don't know. I think that wasn't perfect.
Because weed.
But probably. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Maybe he was unemployed for a month. I have no idea.
And also weed.
But anyways, so yeah, I watched a lot of Star Trek because I was able to watch it without commercials on VHS tapes, and I would just cycle through them over and over and over and over. I wore those things out. And then when Next Gen came out, the whole family was all huddled together when it premiered. I don't know if you guys saw it when it premiered, but it was a big deal for us because Star Trek was coming back.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
That was probably
I
pretty
was
little.
in high school when that came out.
Yeah, you might have actually.
It was high school.
Yeah, you that was probably actually right when you were moving out and didn't have a TV.
Because it was like 1990, maybe, right?
Was it?
It was 87.
Yeah, see, it started before I left. Before
I was
graduated.
6, I think.
graduated at 99 and moved out at 17.
Yeah.
So the first couple of seasons then would have been at home,
Oh, maybe.
and then maybe I lost touch with it.
Yeah. So yeah, we watched all of it, and then same with Deep Space Nine. It was a nightly thing, or not nightly, but every week we would watch it.
Yeah.
By the time Voyager came out, that was around when I moved out, or close to it, and so I missed a lot of Voyager when it first aired, but I caught up on it later, and then it became. And I hated Janeway too at first. That'd be a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with it. It kind of became my favorite.
I did also. I don't know if it's
a good
not. It's
show.
definitely not my favorite, but I did fall in love with it too. Eventually,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it took me a long time.
It's-
What I don't understand about Voyager is the color green they chose for the ship and the desk that they all use in the conference room. It's like a
Is it green?
muddy, like gray
baby poop
green,
green?
like a poop green.
Baby poop-
Why?
baby
Why do
poop
they do
green?
this? The whole ship is like that. Makes no sense. If you look at TNG, they use like a very like I guess maybe 80s kind of. It's like peach and like a
Very
nice
neutral.
like the walls are peach and
Mhm.
what
Kind of a tan.
leather
Yeah, a lot of
seats
tan,
and stuff.
Tan and brown, yeah.
Maybe a nice bright green with the peach.
I think
They did
well,
a good
I
job
don't
on the
know.
colors,
We'd
but
have to-
not for Voyager. Whoever did the interior design on that.
So our plan,
Y'all just keep talking.
Well, no. Hold on. We're
gonna wrap it.
We'll wrap this part up. So our plan is to get together periodically. We
On
jotted
a
down.
set schedule.
Yeah, we jotted down a bunch of ideas for different episodes.
Every so often by calendar date.
Starting with section 31,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
because there's the new movie that came out. We've all seen it, mostly.
For someone that may have fallen asleep for a brief period of time during the main
It wasn't me.
resolve of the story.
It's not me. Look, unemployed Dabo girl is a lot of work.
So, anyways, well, we'll talk about Section 31, the movie, and then more than that, we want to talk about Section 31,
Awesome, Michelle Yeohans.
the organization,
Yeah. The
And
moral
then-
ambiguity.
and then kind of the contrast between how it's presented in the different, because I think there's stark differences in all the places where Section 31 has appeared.
Yeah.
Did Section 31 ever appear on TNG?
No.
It was first introduced on Deep Space Nine.
I swear they had some sort of Federation secret police on TNG.
Well, we can ask AI, but AI, I already asked it and it said no. But you can ask again if you want.
Well, maybe I'm wrong.
So, until next time, tonight, I'm Captain Too Far.
And I'm Ren Andromeda.
And I'm still the unemployed Dabo girl.
What's your name though?
That's it. Unemployed. Shell shock. Unemployed Dabo girl. Have boobs, will travel.
And we're out.
And cut.